Stephen A. Smith, Stephen A. Scam, Stephen A. Scandalous. He lied about his college basketball career at Winston-Salem, where he's averaged 1.5 points.
So Stephen A. is saying that Winston-Salem State, at the end of their basketball season, when they're preparing for their conference tournament, and maybe trying to qualify for the Division II postseason tournament, that they play a game on Saturday. He wakes up the next morning, they're having a scrimmage that he arrives to late in the middle of, and Big House Gaines checks this 6'1", 150-pound guard from New York City who played a couple of months of high school basketball without acquiring any stats or anything, played a month or two of junior college basketball without acquiring any stats or anything. He shuts down a practice, checks Stephen A. Smith into the scrimmage, and then, according to Smith's account, he knocked down 17 straight shots in the scrimmage. And Big House Gaines offered him a full scholarship immediately after the practice. I'm reading this, and when I read it, I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Hold on, but why? Why did he have to say it like that? Whitlock, that's a lot of hate, man. There's a lot of hate from you going on right there, Whitlock. Just because you couldn't get on the team and shoot 17 straight shots.
This is a comic book. And this man's calling this his memoir. He got a full ride scholarship after checking into a Sunday scrimmage after a team played a basketball game on Saturday, knocks down 17 straight shots, and the coach of this team, 17 straight shots, and the coach of this team, which if you go read Big House Gaines' memoir, his book, his biography, all Big House Gaines did was complain about how limited his budget was at Winston-Salem State, how the school wasn't flush with cash and a bunch of scholarships for his players. He was always trying to make ends meet. But this frail kid from New York City, he gave a full scholarship to next year's team after watching him play for an hour in a scrimmage because he allegedly knocked down 17 straight shots. Who writes this? Who believes this?
Hold on. He didn't have to say that. Yes. He said, so basically he's saying Coach Big House Gaines, legendary, God bless the dead, was a head coach for Winston-Salem, the Winston-Salem basketball team. Obviously, when you're the head coach and you're the leader of any sports organization for a college campus, you know, you're in charge of a lot of money, a lot of the economics for the campus in general. And he's saying that they were notoriously cheap for who they were with their budget. So he's saying that this small kid from Queens, this 6'1" cat from Queens, was given a tryout, and he hit 17 straight shots, and he made the team. And they made an exception for the school for a kid that wasn't gonna, provide you with the next leap. Like that means, you know, it's not like it's you discovered Zion or John Morant out of nowhere. Remember, that can take your team to another level because of TV revenue and just probably merch back then also. And who knows under the table, you know, what went on under the table back then. Jason Whitlock got it out for him, man.
I cannot appropriately do justice to the far-fetched story Stephen A. Smith paints in Straight Shooter. Smith has struggled to explain it himself on TV. In November of 2022, not that long ago, November of 2022, what is that, 14 months ago, 15 months ago? On the set of NBA Countdown with Malika Andrews, Jalen Rose, and JJ Redick, ESPN ran a graphic of Smith, Rose, and Redick's senior year stats. Let's play this clip. I don't know what is it? Yeah, slot number 4. Slot number 3. Number 3. I want to play the clip of Stephen A. Smith, of Malika Andrews and JJ Redick and Jalen Rose. Here's Stephen A. Smith talking about his senior year.
we're coming off college hoops, guys.
Yeah.
So I do want to show you all a little something. I got a little something to show you here. Before we dig into the NBA, take a look at this blind resume here. It's 3 players. Their scoring average in each person's final college season. Do we have any guesses who this might be? Jalen, who do you think? What is this?
Nah, this is hilarious. JJ's on the right.
It's our starting lineup from tonight.
Well, they're not
they're
not telling us I only played one game because I cracked my kneecap in half, but that's neither here nor there.
That is neither here.
Did y'all just look and hear what Stephen A. Smith just said on national TV? They put his senior year stats up. Everybody's giggling, and you can tell Stephen A.'s pretty uncomfortable early on. He ain't in on the joke, or maybe no one warned him. I don't know. He tried to loosen up at the end. But then at the end, he says, what they're not telling y'all is I only played one game because I cracked my knee. And then, so look, I'm not good at math. Math is not my strength. I was a writer, and I struggle. I use both my hands and toes to count. But walk me through this and walk yourself through it. 1.5 points per game. How do you average that in one game? Is there a 1.5 pointer in Division II basketball? How do you do it? It can't be done.
Hold on. Stephen A. Scandalous. Big Queens in the building. How did they discover? They said Stephen A. Smith averaged 1.5 points in one game. How can you average 1.5 or any piece of a point if you only play one game? He got the whole world in a frenzy, baby. Stephen A. Smith, man. Yo, I'm riding with my Queens dudes, baby. Jason Whitlock, you're a hater, but let's keep going. This is hilarious.
See, it can't be done. It's comical. It's an impossibility. And I know I'm not great at math, but you can't average 1.5 points a game in basketball in one game.
So you heard what Jason Whitlock had to say. Fantastic. We then go on to produce a show about it. And we produced the show about this yesterday. Gave my thoughts. And then this afternoon, I was going through my Instagram, and I get a message from who I would believe is one of our listeners. His name is Nasir Williams, and I told him I was going to shout him out today. Then Stephen A. Smith decides to basically call out Jackie Long, and then he gets invited to go to Paul George's show, showing up, looking like a music mogul, right? He gets there, and they're talking, and then it gets to the part where they ask him about his college career. And in a shocking turn of events, the same Stephen A. Smith turns around and says, people make fun of me about my 1.5. The fact of the matter is, I didn't even play in college with your ignorant asses. If you don't believe me, we're going to play exactly what Stephen A. Smith said on the Paul George show right now. We're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to what Stephen A. Smith had to say.
You actually received a basketball scholarship.
Yes, I was on a basketball scholarship at Winston-Salem State University my first year there. I cracked my kneecap in that. I was never able to play again. I actually had to leave school for a semester to go home under my mother's insurance to rehab because they wouldn't pay for the insurance in North Carolina. So I would come back, make the team, trying to practice, and once every 36 to 48 hours, my knee would just give out. I couldn't run without the limp and all of that other stuff. And that's what happened. So what I said was everybody teased me 1.5 points a game. I said, no, it was less. I never played because I cracked my kneecap in half with your ignorant ass. I still got a 6-inch screw in it to this very day. They never took it out because back in the day, they would leave it out. Then technology advanced and they would take it out. But by that time, it was in the 2000s. My career was thriving. And I didn't want to take any time off to go back in, take the screw out, and have to rehabilitate all over again because I knew I wasn't going to play. They told me I could live with the screw on my knee. That's what I did.
Did you just hear what the man said?
I did. Yo, we need some sound effects. I need to add sound effects. Boom. He said he went from saying he played one game, averaging 1.5 points, to that he never got to play. Lies not adding up, bullshit catching up. Stephen A. fraud, baby. Stephen A. scandalous. Big Queens in the building. What are you talking about? Queens run you. Ask Russell. Actually, don't ask Russell Simmons. Leave him out of this. I'm sorry I brought him up. Don't flag me, YouTube, please. I don't believe in what that man was doing. Stephen A ain't got no charges like that. He's just capping, as the young lads say.
Did you just hear what this man just said?
I did.
This man just said on Paul George's show that he never played a game. But then on ESPN, he was up there laughing and saying,
Stephen A, Stephen A, Stephen A, Stephen A. Let's go.
But what they wouldn't tell you is all I played was one game. What? And what? Did he really just say that?
He did.
Did I just really hear that? This is damning information. Damning. Number one, Jason Whitlock was right. Period. End of story. Number two, I was wondering, and now I understand why he never refuted that point. As a matter of fact, Stephen A. Smith didn't refute pretty much any of Jason Whitlock's points. What he did was call him out or call him names and then bring up other stories. But he didn't refute a single point. Or if he did, he refuted one. But this particular one, he did not refute. And it makes me begin to wonder, is this guy just up here telling us stories? You see, I'm a family. I got my daughter. I got my wife and all. I got my mom. I got my friend. I don't care. I don't be caring. I'm sorry. I'm going to bed. Fantasy. The only person I wanted to meet was Kobe Bryant, who's now deceased. I wanted to meet Tony Alimalu. I met him. Ain't really that much any else I'd want to meet. So I don't care. I don't care. Oh, I've never lost a life. Who cares?
I don't know who Tony Alimalu is. No disrespect, but you didn't sound too happy to meet him.
I'm just keeping it. I'm just keeping it funky, which I don't care. I'm sorry. I'm getting wet for these dudes, like some of these other dudes. I'm sorry, but anyway, if he sees this, this is damning, because then we got to ask the pertinent question, which is this: if you're lying about this till today, what else are you lying about? What else are you lying about? You see, these are the people that Cat Williams was talking about. There's a reason why they're calling this is the year of truth, when all lies will be exposed. This is the year of it all, folks. No lie can live forever. People are telling on other people. People are slipping up, telling on themselves. You see it every day. But this is damning. This is damning because this guy uses this as one of the pillars to say that he is qualified to talk about basketball. Do you realize how serious this is? That's like somebody going to go try to perform a brain surgery, talking about he went to so-and-so medical school, and then we found out he didn't go. So Stephen A. Smith is just like any other fan out there talking basketball. Because this story makes up.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not the same thing as saying you went to do brain surgery, bro. Come on, chill out. He's not running a basketball organization. Let's relax. You can't. It's not comparable to anything in journalism, and only on things that are intangible can you compare this to. Brain surgery, there's a real tangible result. People can really get hurt. You can't even compare this to anything else. He doesn't have a job somewhere with the Knicks for real. Come on, man. Come on. Now you hating brain surgery. You compared sports commentating to brain surgery. This is how crazy we are. This is how crazy we are as a country, as people, as a world right now, that we compare sports commentating to brain surgery. Keep cooking though, Charles. I salute.
I'm not saying Stephen A. Smith is lying. I'm not saying that. But I know there's no way. The way I heard that story, he's telling the truth. You understand the difference? Okay.
The hell you mean by that, Marcellus? If I'm not telling the truth, man, listen. Big Queen in the building, baby.
Okay, he ain't lying. I ain't saying you're lying. He's just not telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Ain't no way. Let me tell you why. Not that story, not that version can be accurate. Now, maybe Stephen A. Smith just got bored or didn't want to bore us with the details of that story, so he didn't fill it in. He didn't give it the proper color, perspective, etc. But ain't no way somebody traveled to a school and played in a scrimmage. I don't give a damn how many shots you make. You make all the shots. Forget 17 in a row. You make every single shot and then walk away from that scrimmage with that scholarship. Let me tell you, there's no way that happens. Why? Because I've never heard of it. I've never witnessed it. I've never even been around anything like that. Let me tell you, in this experience, when you're going to do a tryout, not a single tryout ever has ended in a moment and they're like, this is yours. You want to know why? Because the tryout is to convince them, and they still got to go back and make sure that that opportunity is for you. You ain't the only one trying out. When are you? We having all tryouts, all comers, just for you. Nah, even you see pro days, combines, it's always other people. Regionals, they do them national combines, etc. There's always somebody else going. Now, I'm not gonna go into the details of this, so that's why I'm like, Stephen A. Smith may not be lying, but that version can't be the full truth. So I've never seen a tryout end like that, unless you're going to try and convince me that it was already his scholarship to lose. I'm listening. But Stephen A. wasn't in that position. The 2 years before, he said he didn't finish playing, only played one game of 1 year and another one game or a few games of another year. So he wasn't in a position to walk into a tryout saying, it's my position in scholarship to lose. He was there trying out for gain, not lose. So I love, woo. I am not the one that wants to see this go, but I will say this. Listening to it, it's like, go where you got to go. Do what you got to do. I want to see where this takes us, because if Stephen A. Smith is not telling the full truth about this, why? We all get into storytelling. We all get into talking about what we've been through, et cetera. And you're like, you leave a detail out. Somebody could call you out. If they know that detail, you lying. You're like, dog, the truth about storytelling is this. The best storytellers know what not to include in the story, what not to say in the story. Ask my wife. She's not a great storyteller when she's telling me these stories. She includes every detail. And I'm like, could have left that part out. I still get the gist of it. So not saying Stephen A. Smith is lying. Whitlock is.
Ironically, Marcellus be doing the same thing when he's when he's talking. I think I'm a long-winded talker myself. But we get the gist of that, man. I think Marcellus Wiley, for him to come out and go against Stephen A. as well is a big deal, because he made it big time. He was not just a big talent in college. He was a big talent for the Buffalo Bills and the Chargers. Defensive end, if I'm not mistaken. I know he was on the front line in football. So for him, he's been at ESPN. He's been at FS1. He knows both guys. He also has an axe to grind against Stephen A. Big Queens. Because Max Kellerman is his guy. Like I started off the Friendly Fire show, this episode. Max Kellerman was mistreated by Stephen A. in a way. I think Stephen A. didn't really keep it funky with Max Kellerman. Just say, yo, bro, listen, it's not going to work. Like, it's, we're doing our thing, but it's not, there's another level we could get to, period. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt it before. We need, $1 million, $1 billion, bang. And it's Disney. That's why he stole Shannon Sharp from Skip Bayless. He saw an opportunity. He cracked it. He wedged that relationship. I don't care what he says, what Stephen A. says. And it is what it is. Another major factor for this is depending on how much fire or gasoline is poured onto this. This could hurt him during negotiations, especially when the opposite. Remember, Jason Whitlock, right wing Republican. He's gonna go through all those channels to promote this story and keep promoting it, so that he could get the one up on Stephen A. I guess. Because at the end of the day, what Stephen A. did by coming out and calling him the fat bastard and everything, he didn't fight this story. He didn't fight the lie, right? And you could tell why. Again, big Queens in New York City, you're gonna get to meet the ultimate scammers of all time. At your front door, maybe in your next door, your next bedroom door over. You're sleeping or you're living with the biggest scammer in New York City. That's how New York is. And one of the best ways to scam people, the old 3 Carl Monty. Stephen A. was yelling, doing all this yelling. He called all these people, Dan Le Batard, Jamel Hill out of nowhere. Every single big name that used to be on ESPN that he knew would come to the carpet and respond to this. Or maybe he threw that chance out there because all they're going to do is defend Stephen A. He knew that, right? But that means they're going to talk about whatever Stephen A. is talking about and not what Jason Whitlock is talking about. He made Jason Whitlock being a jerk, and beyond the jerk, the story, instead of him lying again. So that's the 3 Carl Monty game that my guy plays. But again, that's what you do when you're from Big Queens, I'm guessing. That's how you make it. It was slick. And he's now going to be at a head at ESPN with something like this at the forefront. You could call it karma. You could call it whatever you want. But remember, Stephen A. is trying to make a name for himself on YouTube the same way Pat McAfee did, the same way Marcellus Wiley is trying to, the same way Shannon Sharp did. And the ace in his back pocket would probably be calling up Skip Bayless. Hey, let's redo this on YouTube. Let's get the FS1 backing or whatever it is.